And this is the final part of my section on retrogrades. On February the 28th, Mercury finally stops going retrograde and starts moving forward, and communication begins to flow again. On March the 1st, Mars stops moving forward and starts going retrograde, a reassessment of the way energy is used. On March the 2nd, Saturn stops moving forward and starts going retrograde. And a change in our willingness collectively and individually to deal with deep-rooted issues that both empower and disempower us as individuals and as nations and as species. And then on March the 6th, Jupiter finally stops going retrograde and starts moving forward again. Jupiter is standing still at 10 degrees of Cancer. This is on my sun. And I know that a number of people born around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th of July, 2nd, 3rd, 4th of October, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th of April, 1st, 2nd, 3rd of January. What a time. What a time. And this is it. This is about as big as it ever gets. I can't see anything like this happening again for another 30 or 40 years. Jupiter brings growth and expansion, optimism, hope, humour, belief, but he's also over the top and larger than life. And for those of you with any particularly strong planets between 10 to 20, the middle 10 degrees of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, which has got to be a good 1/9 of people at least, maybe more like 1/5, then the developments of August, September, and maybe even early October of last year all seemed really nice. Lots of opportunities. And then you realised that one or two people were slightly over-exaggerating. And as Jupiter goes retrograde in Cancer around November time, suddenly it seems like a lot of things are slowing down and there's lots of words but not a lot of action. And over November, December, January, February, when Jupiter is retrograde, a lot of white elephants are just flying off, never to be seen again. A lot of bubbles are bursting and coming down to Earth to be seen to have no substance. There is no depth. There is no materialism here. It's all hot air. And this is the Jupiter retrograde effect, especially in Cancer. Jupiter is traditionally quite positive in Cancer. And I understand that because Jupiter's the king of the gods and he looks after everyone else. And he does, both astronomically as well as metaphorically. But at the same time, Cancer is very family orientated and Jupiter does like to be the king here. So with Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, it's always like there's an over-fussiness around issues to do with nurturing. So look at the middle 10 degrees of Cancer in your chart and see where situations have been over the top, or people have been making a fuss, or you've been making a fuss. And ask yourself if you've overreached and overstretched or undercut. Middle 10 degrees of Cancer. See what house it's in your horoscope. But it is not so much the individual effect of Jupiter retrograde in Cancer that I'm concerned around, because this happens after all once every 12 years for 3 or 4 months. It is the aspects it's making. Retrograde Jupiter is now yesterday exactly square to Uranus and opposite Pluto. And this is phase 2 of a 3-phase process. Jupiter will finalise and finish its square to Uranus for the final time, I think probably around the end of April, and Jupiter opposes Pluto for the final time, also at the same time, the last 2 weeks of April, by which time Mars is really getting involved. So the more we get towards mid-end April, the more the imminence and urgency and intensity of the Grand Cross pattern is going to be evident. And with Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at this time, and for the next week when I'm recording this, only moving forward from the 6th, you can be sure that in the first week of March, the rhetoric is going to be astronomical. The words are going to be larger than life. Everything's going to be made out to be far bigger than it actually is. However, by the 8th, things begin to deflate temporarily as we move into Jupiter moving forward. Now, in a lot of individual charts, Jupiter moving forward is bringing a lot of real growth, over particularly April, May, June in individual horoscopes. But in almost all cases, I'm saying wait until May, because it's not going to be until the end of April and the Grand Cross is over, but clarity's coming. The Jupiter retrograde in itself is relatively insignificant because of its commonality. 3 months a year, 4 months a year. But the Jupiter retrograde in Cancer in its aspect pattern to the Uranus-Pluto square at this time is a one-off. And it is creating extremely larger-than-life situations across the spectrum. Don't buy into the hype and spin, especially at the start of March and realistically until the end of April. As I was saying to 80% of my clients, I'm saying to them that by the time you're into May, 80 to 90% of the challenges of this year are going to be primarily sorted. The echoes, the results, the reverberations will continue, but the hard surgery is going to be done in 8 to 9 weeks from now. So grin and bear it once in a lifetime and learn. Do it the hard way. Get hurt, get knocked about. You won't have to learn fast. Good luck. See you on the other side.